Okay, good morning, everyone. Gonna get a bit of my shave on. Some things have transpired. First and foremost, we've been living in the new trailer full-time for about 2 weeks now. And just as we had everything moved over here, I got fired at work. They decided I was taking too many breaks, that I was leaving the floor too often. The TLDR version of the story is that the coach who fired me is a snottish little troll. And I've been having to really rein in my more impulsive tendencies, especially wanting to say certain things out loud that could get me into a lot of trouble in the long term. It really is kind of amazing how we're allegedly in a democracy, but I still have to have the freedom of responsibility on top of freedom of speech. So I can't say the things I want to say, especially online. Suffice it to say, so I was terminated and I'm unrehirable. So go ahead and troll me in the comments section. Just remember, if you do, I will get the interaction on the video and I'll still win in the long run. It didn't take me long. Literally, I've been unemployed for a week and a half now. And I just found a job the other day, just got interviewed, just put in my information. Now I'm officially in the system. And I will be starting when I come back from the family vacation that we already have planned. I'm not going to tell anybody where I'm working, at least for now, because I just can't afford any more bungle ups and I can't afford any more obsessive stalkers figuring out where I work. It's a huge part of why I deleted TikTok. I deleted TikTok for a number of reasons, but the main one was that stalker I mentioned in the last video. The truth is TikTok was starting to bring people a little too close for comfort. I didn't realize how many people, after a year and after accumulating almost 5,000 followers, or just over, over 5,000, because I was able to do the ads. After accumulating over 5,000 followers, more people from my hometown were starting to see my streams and see my content. And most of them were cool about it, but obviously that one stalker lady is giving me a hard time. And I have no doubt I'll run into her again during the course of my new job, but I'll just have to take that as it comes. I mean, I still want to make it as a career, or I still want to be a successful content creator, but I'm back on the slow path now. And TikTok, it was kind of a double-edged sword. On the one hand, I was getting the followers, and most of them were not bots. But on the other hand, it's just as much. I've always said that with YouTube, it's begging, borrowing, and stealing to get views. But I didn't really appreciate how much of that would all right, TikTok, in the beginning, TikTok would show my video to people and I could get well over 1,000 views per video. But then at one point, they started holding back the views because they wanted people to pay for promotions. And so a lot of my followers came from those paid promotions, which, all right, $20 here and there to promote a TikTok, that's not a huge expense, but it does add up, especially if you're not getting the subscribers. And I was doing the ads. I was able to get some revenue from the ads, but a lot of those companies and a lot of those the ad revenue doesn't really pay you that much. And I wasn't expecting to be able to pay bills with it, but you really only get paid by those ads if somebody buys the product. And I had a lot of fun making some of those ads, but they were not getting the desired result. So right now, I'm back on the slow path, trying to recoup the success on YouTube that I had on TikTok. And it's slow in coming, but YouTube is ultimately the safer goal because hardly anybody knows about my channel unless I go out of my way to show it to them. So there's less of a danger of people from my hometown finding out about the YouTube channel. And even if they do, I genuinely don't care. but I do have to be careful. I don't care, but I have to be careful. But I am going to be a lot, you know. Anyway, so enough of that. So yeah, we will not be going to Niagara Falls. We actually changed our mind, and that turned out to be for the best, because in the brief span of time when I was unemployed, Niagara Falls would have been an expensive trip anyway. And we decided to go visit our nephew who lives in Gloucester. Well, my nephew. Me and my husband's nephew. So our nephew, yes. He lives in Gloucester, and we don't see him that often. He comes here for family events and holidays, and if the family needs anything, he's always here without question. And we've finally convinced my youngest niece, who is 30, so it's a different family dynamic, just go with it. My niece and her family are finally going to go see their brother, her brother. And we're hoping to squeeze in a trip to the aquarium, to the Boston Aquarium, even though he lives in Gloucester, and Boston and Gloucester are on two separate sides of the shore. We're still hoping to squeeze in that trip. I will say that with my new job, time off will not be as forthcoming as it was with Walmart, and that is a downside that I will regret. And my new boss is really nice. She said, yes, it's a good idea for you to take your vacation now. And because she also said, like, the main problem with the new job is that I might get vacation time approved, but come the hour, if they need coverage and I'm the only one available, I might lose that time. I am prepared for that. I don't know if my husband is fully prepared for it, because once again, with Walmart, it was a lot easier to get time off. And I guess I never appreciated the fact that with all the lazy assholes working there, I had plenty of people, there was plenty of coverage, and I wasn't doing any job that required me to sell myself to the store. Look, I'll make it work. The important thing is right now, I can pay my share of the bills, and the paycheck isn't as big as it will be as it was with Walmart, but I'm gonna make it work. I'm quite capable of making things work when I want them to work. At the end of the day, though, I was at my wit's end with Walmart. Like I was fucking done with them to begin with, and so getting fired was almost a mixed blessing. I mean, I got my severance check, and I'm not completely giving up on them. I did start a petition, change.org, not because I want to get my job back right away, but because I think making me unrehirable was a bit extreme, considering that I only left the floor so that if I was when I was having a meltdown, or when I felt a meltdown coming on, I left the floor so I could better deal with it, so I wouldn't interfere with customers and I wouldn't interfere with coworkers. It's not like I was leaving the floor to go screw around. I was trying to take care of my mental health. And at the very least, I want the option to be rehirable, so that let's say Michael does decide he wants to move, and I mean, there's more Walmarts in the country than there are McDonald's right now. That's probably an exaggeration. I have no clue. My point is, there's Walmarts everywhere, and I would like the option of being rehirable at one of those stores. So I did start the change.org petition to sort of see if I can get enough signatures together to maybe pressure Walmart into changing my status, so that in 6 months, if I want the option, I have it. But if not, I'm perfectly happy to tell everybody a lot of the stories that I could not tell while I was working there. And honestly, I'm seriously hoping I get that opportunity. So your move, Walmart. Ball's in your court. And my foot is ready to kick it. But anyway, I'm going to try not to give them any more time in my head. What else is going on? What else is going on? So right now, not a lot I want to talk about on this video. As I said, feel free to tell me in the comments section what a terrible person I am, and how I am such an awful employee, and how you hope I get fired, and how you think I'm weird. Feel free to do all that, because the more comments you make, the better views this video will get. You know, I'm beginning to think that's the reason why I haven't had a lot of interaction on my previous videos, because some of you are actually catching on. But then it's also possible that other YouTubers are hogging all the attention. So I don't know. Oh well. Here. Let me see. Here. Look at this. I'm pregnant, everybody. Look at that. You see my belly? I'm pregnant. There. Now I'm like Caroline Constar. I'm lying about being pregnant. All right. Everybody have a great day. Be safe. Treat each other with dignity and respect.